You tie Toby to the hall table and go upstairs again. The room upstairs looks just as Holmes left it, except a white sheet now covers the body. A tired-looking police sergeant stands by the door.
Sergeant, may I borrow your bullseye lantern? Please tie it around my neck.
The sergeant does as asked. After thanking the sergeant, you and Holmes climb back up through the hole in the ceiling. You carefully step out of the small door and onto the tiled roof. Holmes walks a few paces forward, then stops. He bends down and gently taps a few tiles with his finger.
Look, Watson.
You move closer and examine the tiles in the beam of the bullseye lantern. The tiles are placed irregularly, and some of them have dark stains.
These tiles are very irregular. Did the killer loosen them?
Yes, it shows he was in a panic while escaping. But this stain is more worthy of notice.
He holds the lantern closer.
These are footprints, and they are covered in creosote. If we follow the footprints, we can trace the villain's escape. Now, take Toby and wait for me in the yard downstairs. I will now reconstruct the murderer's full escape path.
Understood. Take great care on the roof.
You turn away from the roof and wait in the yard with Toby. You look up. The beam of the lantern sweeps across the roof like a dancing glowworm. Suddenly, the beam of light disappears behind the chimney. Your heart skips a beat. Soon, the light appears again on the other side of the chimney. Holmes's voice comes from above.
Watson, is that you?
Yes, it's me. How are things up there?
I'm following the loose tiles to trace his path. He must have climbed down from here. Can you tell me what that black thing is right below me?
A water barrel. Its lid is on.
Good, the lid is on. Is there a ladder nearby?
No ladder, but there is an old pipe.
I hope it is strong enough. I am coming down.
There is a soft noise, and the lantern comes slowly down the wall. Then, with a light spring, Holmes landed firmly on the barrel. You hurry forward.
Are you all right? That was very dangerous.
Holmes brushes the dust from his coat.
Don't worry, I am quite safe, and I found this while following the trail.
He takes a small, grass-woven pouch from his pocket and holds it out to you. This pouch is woven from grass. The pouch is about the size of a cigarette case. The outside is decorated with a few cheap beads.
What is inside this pouch?
Open it and see, but be careful not to prick your hand.
You carefully open the pouch and pour out its contents. 6 dark wooden thorns fall into your palm.
These, are they not the same kind of thorn from Bartholomew's body?
Exactly. These are probably all the thorns the killer had. Now we do not need to worry about being pricked by them. We must set off now, Watson. Is your leg ready for the walk?
Don't worry, a few miles is no problem.
Holmes nods and takes a handkerchief from his pocket.
Good. I'll fetch some creosote. Now we leave the rest to Toby.
The eastern sky grows light. The cold morning light shows the outlines in the distance. You and Holmes follow Toby closely. You cross a rough, uneven road and reach a high wall. Toby paces anxiously along the bottom of the wall, whining. Your path is blocked.
Holmes, look at Toby. He doesn't seem to be looking for a way up, but pacing along the base of the wall. Could there be a hidden door here?
You and Holmes bend down at the wall's base, tapping and feeling each brick. You both search for loose bricks or a hollow sound. But after several minutes, the wall is as silent as before. You find nothing but dust and moss on your hands.
Watson, look. The bricks here are badly worn. Someone has climbed this wall many times. There must be footholds here. Let's look for them.
Sure enough, you find several raised bricks hidden by the branches. The bricks are placed at different heights, forming a ladder to the top of the wall.
I'll go first. Pass Toby up to me, then climb up yourself.
He grabs the raised bricks and climbs up the wall using his hands and feet. Then he leans down and holds out his hand. You lift Toby up and pass him over. Then you step onto the bricks and begin to climb. Holmes's voice comes from above.
Haha, Watson, look here. This bloody handprint must belong to the wooden-legged man. It is almost 20 hours since the crime. Luckily, it has not rained, so the marks remain clear.
You climb to the top of the wall and look at the bloodstain.
Earlier, I worried about the crowded London streets. Toby would be distracted by other smells. But it seems I worried for nothing.
Holmes gave a quiet laugh as he held Toby and said nothing. You climb over the high wall and walk on. You keep up with him and ask the question on your mind.
Holmes, I still do not understand. How did you deduce the details about the murderer?
After Thaddeus's father returned home, he was always on guard against a man with a wooden leg. He even shot a white tradesman by mistake, remember?
So one of the murderers is a white man.
Yes. Do you recall the names on the sign of the four?
You quickly recall those 4 scrawled names. One of them stands out. Holmes shakes his head with a slight smile.
Watson. Watson. Are you testing my patience or your own memory? Abdullah Khan, a typical Indian or Afghan name.
Jonathan Small. Only Jonathan Small has a white man's name.
An excellent memory, Doctor. So now it all fits together. Captain Morstan and Major Sholto served as officers in India, guarding convicts. Small and his companions held a treasure map. For some reason, perhaps they were in prison and could not move freely. They could not get the treasure themselves. So an agreement was made. The convicts trusted Major Sholto and Captain Morstan, who had power and freedom. They were to get the treasure back and share it with them. However, human nature is greedy. Major Sholto and perhaps Captain Morstan were tempted by the great wealth. Major Sholto brought all the treasure back to London, along with fear and a curse.
That is why Major Sholto lived in constant fear after he returned home. And that letter from India.
Yes, it was almost certainly from Jonathan Small. He was telling Sholto, "I am coming to take my revenge."
And how did you know what Jonathan Small looks like?
He was a prisoner for many years on the hot Andaman Islands, so his skin must be dark. The size of the footprints at the scene tells us his height. As for the beard, Thaddeus Sholto saw it with his own eyes through the window.
What about his companion? Do you have any clues?
Don't worry, we will know soon enough.
You and Holmes follow Toby as he trots ahead. You pass through the waking streets of London, a maze of roads and small alleys. You look around as you run.
Streatham, Brixton, Camberwell. We are running right round London. He picks these winding side streets to lose anyone who might follow.
You pass through the Oval and finally enter Kennington Lane. At the corner of Knight's Place, Toby stops dead. One of its ears is up and the other one twitches nervously. It sniffs the ground anxiously, then looks up with a confused whine.
Something is wrong. He hesitates.
Perhaps they stopped here for a moment or changed their transport.
Just then, Toby gives a low growl and dashes forward. The leash pulls tight. You leap up and follow at once. You follow Toby down 9 Elms to a large timber yard beside the White Eagle Tavern. Toby darts inside through a side gate. Inside the yard, sawyers are already at work. The air is full of shavings and sawdust. Toby races quickly along a small path, weaving past piles of wood. With an excited bark, he leaps onto a large barrel, still on a hand trolley. A strong, sharp smell of creosote fills the air. Toby stands on the barrel, panting and wagging his tail, looking very proud. You and Holmes are speechless as you look at the triumphant Toby.
Was Toby confused by the strong smell?
Ha 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 ha, it seems so, Watson. Fate has played a little joke on us.
Hearing his bright yet self-mocking laugh, you can only manage a wry smile. Even the most careful reasoning can be undone by a single accident. The trail ends here. You must rethink your plan.